Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel.
I had to put on my reaching hat. Hear me out. Hi, thank you for clicking. If you hear anything, I've got both of my dogs with me. They kept following me into the room. So if you hear any shifting or whatever, that's what it is. This is part 2 of the 3-part interview with Melanie Gibb, Lori Vallow's best friend. On Thursday, the 3rd part is coming out, and I'm hoping I can get the 3rd part video out on Friday or Saturday, but at the absolute latest Sunday. So please look out for that. And of course, if you were to subscribe, that would be great. I would really appreciate it. It really helps me out. I make true crime videos. I try to make at least a few videos a week, but I don't have a set schedule. I just kind of do what I can when I can. All right, let's get into the video. The first thing that we find out is that it was Chad who wanted Lori to move to Idaho.
Well, she said that first she thought Chad would come to be with her in Arizona. And then she said, I think I changed my plans. I think I'm supposed to be up there. He says I'm supposed to be up there, but I need to get my own answer to find out if I'm supposed to be there, because she didn't really want to go there at first. And then she said, I was told, yes, I need to go, and she needed to be there by a certain time, and so she decided to go. And then she just told me that I need to go up there.
In September is when Lori moves to Idaho. And I find it very interesting that that is also the same month that JJ and Tylee go missing. Coincidence? I think not. So the interviewer asks Melanie, she was gonna move to Idaho knowing that he was already married? That's so strange. And Melanie says, well, Lori thought that Tammy was going to die before she even moved there.
In September, she moved. She tells you that she needs to go up there. And what was your reaction about Chad telling her she needs to come up there, knowing that Chad still has the wife and 5 kids?
Yeah, well, we talked about that. I'm like, isn't that going to be awkward? She was uncomfortable with it. She believed that Tammy was going to pass away, though, before she got up there. And that didn't happen. She didn't pass away before she got up there.
How was she going to die?
I heard a few times maybe through a car accident or something like that.
So they thought Tammy would be in a car crash,
Yeah.
would pass away, then Lori would move up there, and then she could marry Chad.
Mm-hmm.
And when that didn't happen, she said, I've still got to go.
Yeah, because, you know, the other side of the veil she's talking to, she said, I need to be there by this date. And
She's communicating with
someone. Yeah.
Remember, Chad said that he had a vision or a dream or something that Tammy was gonna die, and then she died in her sleep, perfectly healthy. So Lori is now in Idaho, and her and Chad go on these walks like they did before. They go on these walks on a track, and Melanie actually joined them on at least one of these walks, in which she says they were being affectionate.
She and Chad would walk around the track at BYU, Idaho, holding hands, maybe kissing, you know, just displaying, looking like a married couple.
I did have an opportunity to walk with them, and we walked, and yeah, I was surprised. I'm like, aren't you worried that people are going to see you? And she says, well, Tammy doesn't come out a lot. She doesn't come over to this part a lot, so.
But they were openly affectionate.
Yeah, and they said a lot of people that knew Chad didn't know what Tammy looked like because they didn't do a lot of the things together.
They're all supposed to be so religious and moral and all this stuff, and yet you're gonna tag along your friend while she's basically cheating with this guy who you're following in your cult, and he's married to someone. What does Jesus think about cheating? Or is there an exception? When you try to determine who was running the show, at times it seems like Chad is running the show, and then at other times it seems like Lori is running the show. Lori had the charisma, the personality. She's outgoing, she's laughing, she's talking. Chad is like the spiritual one. He's the one who gets the revelations and the veil and the near-death experiences. Listen.
He was very quiet most of the time. He let her do most of the talking.
How would you describe his personality at that time? Just reserved?
Reserved. Yeah, reserved. A little, sometimes he came across not very confident.
So now we're still in September. Lori has moved to Idaho, and now Melanie comes to visit her. She comes on a Thursday and she leaves that following Monday. And she's staying with Lori at this time. Alex was there too. Alex had moved into the same complex that they lived in. When Melanie arrives, Tylee is not there, but JJ is. And as soon as she comes to the door, when Lori greets her, Lori tells her that JJ is a zombie.
As I arrived on the Thursday, she had said that he had turned into a zombie the day before I got there. And she was pointing out behaviors of his, like, look how he's doing this, that's unusual, or look how he's doing that. And I was looking at him and I thought, well, I don't know, he kind of looks like JJ to me, you know. Hyper and angry one minute and kind of chill or crying the next minute. Like, that's how his behaviors always were around me.
So Lori does not talk about Tylee at all. She says that Tylee's over at some college and never mentions her ever again after that. During those walks that Lori takes with Chad, JJ is home alone with Alex, which made me think, it's so interesting that Alex is always around when people go missing or die. It's so weird when you think about it. Like, right? Alex is there in the picture with Tylee in Yellowstone. We never see her after that. We know what he did to Charles. We know that he attempted to shoot Brandon Boudreaux. We know he attacked Joseph Ryan, Tylee's dad. And now he's alone in the house with JJ every time they go on a walk. I want to get into the zombie thing because it is so much more pervasive than I imagined. This is the first that I'm hearing that they started saying that Charles Vallow was also a zombie before they killed him. So remember the video I did about the body cam footage of Charles where he's telling the cops that they say that I'm Nick Schneider and she's threatening to kill me and blah, blah, blah. We get the backstory into this whole Nick Schneider, or she referred to him as Ned Schneider. So listen to her talk about Mr. Schneider.
That was brought to Lori's attention by Chad on the phone call. I was in her house when that phone call came in. And he described to her that Charles was no longer Charles, that this unclean spirit that was friends with Charles on the earth, you know, when they used to be friends, had now passed on, and now he is this unclean spirit on the earth roaming around, and now he's attached himself to Charles, and now he has entered his body and taken over it. So he's not really Charles anymore. He's now this guy named Ned Schneider. And she seemed blown out by it. You know, I could tell she was like, that is really different. And she told me, and I thought, that is very unusual. It was just, you know, because Chad had this influence on people because he had visionary experience. You know, he could see things. At least he said, you know, he portrays that he did. And so he had this way of seeing things that Lori and I didn't have that we didn't have that gift of seeing. But I do have come to understand that that gift has been manipulated by the adversary. And so...
By Satan.
Absolutely. I don't know how he got his information other than she would say he would often sit in his portal and receive revelation about people.
Wait 1 second. I'm getting a message from the portal. Hold on. Yes? Uh-huh. Yeah? Oh. Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you, portal. TTYL portal. Then something is revealed that I believe is premeditation. Undeniable.
I used to say to her, why is everybody in your life turning into zombies? Like, why is everybody after you? Like, why? I don't understand. And she would say, well, it's because, you know, Satan really hates me, and because of my exaltation on the level that I'm exalted to, they're coming straight after me.
So anyone that would disagree with her or cause her any sort of problem would become a zombie?
Pretty much. Or either considered to be dark. They're a little bit different, but that's another discussion.
Yeah. Lori received a revelation that Charles was supposed to die in an accident on his way home from Texas.
Correct.
He didn't die. So what was her reaction at that point?
Well, I asked her, I'm like, why didn't he die? You were told he was supposed to die. Why didn't he die? And she said, well, I think she went to Chad and asked because I don't think she knew the answer to that. And so he let her know that the accident that was supposed to happen didn't because of people's choices. So when things didn't go according to plan or according to a timing, it was only because of agency, and it would change. Oh, it's because somebody changed their agency.
The night before Charles died, didn't she call Alex and say, come and stay with me? Do you know?
Mm-hmm.
She did.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Alex shot Charles.
I don't understand why Charles wants to kill you.
She told you Charles showed up to kill her.
That was his way. He was coming down from Texas.
To kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she had called Alex the night before to come over to the house. Mm-hmm. And that he shot Charles in self-defense.
Correct.
This was planned. This was murder. And this brings me to the insurance policies. Now, the insurance policies have been a huge topic of discussion. A lot of people feel like this is one of the main motivations behind all of the killings that they did. And when you find out the way she spoke about them and how much money she was already getting, just listen.
She said she had $3 million of insurance on her head. Mm-hmm. Did she ever talk to you about Charles's insurance?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What did she say?
She said that he had, I think, about $1 million, and that she knew when he passed away that she thought she'd get the money.
When she found out it had been switched to Kay, what was that conversation like?
Well, she wasn't overjoyed about it, and she's like, well, Kay has the money now, but she also believed that Kay was a zombie as well. So she just believed that they were all against her. That was her belief system. You know, as time passed, she's like, I'll get something from, when a spouse dies, you get Medicare, I think, something like that.
Some sort of benefit.
Yeah, and he was a bit older than her, so she knew that she could get something still, so that she wasn't completely left without anything.
We heard that she was also getting money as a single mom, money from Tylee and JJ because JJ had disabilities.
So I know Tylee received money from her father's death, and yeah, I think so. I think JJ did too. I don't remember talking about that too often.
We figured it out, and it was around $6,000 a month, tax-free, that she got between the three.
Yeah, I think she mentioned something like she could get that much amount. Something sounds familiar.
So you've got Lori claiming she has $3 million insurance policy on her head and that they're all attacking her and wanting to get it, which talk about projecting, textbook projecting. That's what she's doing. That's how she thinks. And she's making it seem like that's what they're after. Unbelievable, this woman. Circling back to Alex Cox, her brother, we get a peek into how devoted he was.
I sat and talked to Alex about that a few weeks before he passed away. I'm like, I'm not too sure about this zombie thing. He goes, I 100% believe it.
He said he 100% believed it.
Yes. So Alex really did believe. I don't ever even believe that Lori completely ever believed it.
You don't?
I think she, like when you want to believe something sometimes and you listen to people tell you, like maybe she was listening to Chad, or maybe because of why it was happening, sometimes you really want to believe stuff just because you want the outcome is much what you're desiring to have.
Very disturbing. But now they somehow get it into their head, Chad of course starts this, that JJ, poor little JJ, who just had a birthday, 8 years old, is in the way of their mission.
He's in the way of our mission, so we need to send him to Kay's house. That was kind of like the idea, is what could we do? And so we talked about Kay, and we talked about some of her family members that could actually take him on. And so we talked about, what that conversation would be like with Kay, and she wasn't sure if Kay would really receive him. And so we talked about just different ideas about, him going there. And so that was the plan that I knew of, is he's going to Kay's house.
Okay, so now JJ is supposed to be with his grandma, Kay Woodcock. That's what Melanie believes. And then she gets the call.
I still feel emotional about it. I said, Melanie, it's Chad. When the police call, don't pick up the phone. And my heart just dropped. I was so confused. I'm like, what? He says, yeah, the police are over at Lori's house checking on JJ. And I'm like, JJ's not with Kay? No. My heart dropped deeper. And I just knew something was wrong, but I didn't know. I didn't understand.
What was Chad's demeanor like on the phone? Was he stoic? What was he like?
He was very nervous.
He was nervous.
He was very scared. He did not sound himself. Very unsure, very quivery almost.
How soon after did Lori then call?
I can't recall, but it was soon after.
Soon after. And what does she say?
She sounded like everything was wonderful and great. She had an upbeat voice, and I was like, wow, she's positive. And that it gave me a little hope that, hey, maybe, it's not what I'm thinking the worst. She was protecting JJ, something to the fact that they were not just Kay, but it felt like many people were after him. And so she was trying to protect him. That's what she told me.
And what was your gut feeling?
If something was terribly wrong. I mean, it just stayed in there for a long time, that gut feeling. I get to Arizona and everything. I was talking to Alex because I wanted to meet with him. And he goes, I cannot believe she threw you under the bus like that.
We think of Alex as this completely devoted person to Lori. Maybe doing the dirt that he did, he is starting to see, when the pressure comes on, Lori's throwing people under the bus. What if she does the same to me, since I've done the most dirty work? Then she confirms what I suspected in my last video, which is that she's so embarrassed by this, which, I can't blame her. I would be so embarrassed.
And I was like this, it was hard to say it. I couldn't even say the word zombie when I first talked to them. It was just too painful to say it, because I'm like, this is so jacked up.
Then she says something which reminds me of how she began the first part. I think she's saying the children are dead, but then again, she doesn't say it explicitly. Let me know what you guys think. Listen.
If you're Lori, think about this, and my heart breaks for her. She's got to admit that these people are dead, and it was because of their teachings and their ideas that they had these things happen. It's hard to admit that. You would have to admit that you actually had something to do with the death of your family. She's in the jail now. She doesn't get to be with Chad, who she loves. That's what she wanted so badly. And now she can't even be with him. It was a fatal attraction that led to their separation and people passing away.
Okay, so now we wait for part 3, which I think is going to be the most shocking part. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you are a returning subscriber, I want to thank you so much. Any of you guys that leave me these supportive comments, you do not understand how much it keeps me going. I'm working and I'm busy and I'm trying to churn these out, and sometimes it feels like nobody cares. So when I get a comment like that, it gives me so much motivation. So I really, really want to thank you guys so much. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.